Get up, BDL. It's time for the Inside Podcast number 7 with Mike and Scotty. Yep, that's right. We are back on the air, back coming at you again today. I have an apology to make at the top of today's show. We're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But it was great time today as we sat down to hammer this show out to hear from new BDLGM Stephen of the Moncton Mounties. Stephen joined us on this episode of the Inside Pod, and guys, I did my best to quell the Canadian love fest, but I was woefully outnumbered here, so you'll have to just overlook those guys, and we'll just move on. But yeah. But good show today. I actually had a really good conversation with Steven. He's been, I think, a great addition to the league. He's great on the forum. It's always nice to get guys in the league who are sort of just dash out of the gate and don't mind to chat on the forum and really get to know everyone. And he has certainly done that. And I think he's been great for the league so far, and we're very happy to have him. I certainly am. But anyway, guys, we're going to jump right into it today. You're listening, of course, to BDL Radio, so let's crank it up for number 7 because the Inside Pod is on fire. Hello, BDL. We are back. We are certainly back for number 7, episode 7 of the Inside Pod. Of course, Scotty, your co-host, here with Mike, as always. Mike, what's up, brother?
Hey, Scotty, how you doing, buddy? It's been to quote the great Robert Plant, it's been a long time.
Yeah, we didn't really intend to take a little bit of a hiatus. Well, not a hiatus. That's too strong. But a kind of a mid-season break there. But I've been a little busy. It's been kind of hard to get together and connect for a show. Have done quite a bit of traveling this summer, and that has kept me both on the front end and the back end of that really busy. The planning stages of the entire family has, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. I don't know if you are brave enough to get out and do anything yet, but we hopped a plane in. What is? Let's see, we're mid-July now. We hopped a plane about a month ago. Headed out west, did a really cool national parks loop, and there was a lot of planning involved in just kind of getting ready for that. And Joshua, our son, with his autism, there's a lot of extra planning that goes into traveling with him just due to food. He has a gluten sensitivity and those things, and so it's been a kind of a busy time, but it's been a fun time, and my crew's been really happy to kind of get out and stretch the legs a little bit and do some fun things that the entire world really didn't have much of an opportunity to do for 14, 18 months or so.
Yeah, it was a long time. Jeez. We knocked off 6 shows back to back, and then my co-host turned into Forrest Gump on me. I'm watching Facebook. It's like this guy's traveling across America.
I don't know if you did that on purpose, but in case you didn't see on my Facebook feed, we actually went by, stopped at, and took photos at Forrest Gump Point there outside of Monument Valley, where he stops and turns around in the movie. He gets to the point where he's run as far as he wants to run.
I'm tired. I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, I want to go home now. Well, yeah, we that wasn't quite the end of our trip, so we weren't ready to go home. But we got out and took the obligatory family photograph with that in the background.
I didn't see that one.
Highway.
I didn't see that photo.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Pretty neat.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. But otherwise, how have things been? You guys, I guess
things are
Having you
start
busy?
yeah, things are starting to get back to normal a little bit up here. I don't know how much you follow the Canadian news. I shall take it not
Z-
at all. Uh,
Zero.
but that's what I kind of figured. But things are starting to open up here. Like just today, we entered kind of stage 3 of our reopening plan, so things are gonna get back to somewhat normal. The Blue Jays return to Toronto in 2 weeks, which would be kind
I
of
saw
nice.
that. I saw that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so things are starting to get back to normal a little bit. Like our vaccine efforts started a little later than you guys, just to due to where these things got made more than anything. But the effort has gone much better than the rest of the world, so we certainly can't
Hmm.
complain. Like I think on first doses, we're 5 points clear of any other country in the world, and I think as of tomorrow we jump you guys on second doses, and I think we'll probably end up settling at about 70 or so percent of the total population being vaccinated, and that'll probably happen end of the summer, and that's probably about as good as anyone could possibly hope for. So I think at
Right.
that
Right.
point, you get to a point where, kind of kids under 12 are unvaccinated. You try to keep schools as safe as you possibly can, and everything else opens up to somewhat normal. And you just tell people that can work from home, keep doing that because that's fine with us. And but beyond that, I think come the fall, I think things will hopefully be back to somewhat normal in Canada, and they hope they're not going to get hit with a wave like that's happening in the UK right now.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
fear what might be happening to my neighbors in the south this fall. But
Well,
let's hope things are going to be okay.
yeah. I mean, of course, it varies by location a little
That's
bit,
the
but
thing. Yeah,
largely across the U.S., with the exception of airline travel, things have been pretty well opened up and more or less back to normal without masks, any of those things, social distancing for about I'll say about 6 weeks or
yeah,
so. In fact, I was attending an event earlier today with the governor of Virginia, and he and his entire staff, a few of the state senators, delegates, and no one even bothers anymore.
really.
And those positions in our government, when you get to that point, then it's the public just is, of course, does not follow suit any
Yeah,
longer.
yeah.
I did see, of course, where LA County
They just reinstituted
has
the mask mandate, right?
right, right,
Yeah,
right. So that's yeah, but a little more of a hot spot, I think.
yeah. I think
But
basically that's what's going to happen for the next few months is you're just going to see these flare ups, and you just hope vaccination rates are high enough where these things don't get out of control. Like as you know, I'm a Disney freak, as you kind of are as well, and I
yeah,
know in Central Florida cases are starting to get out of control again, and the mayor of the city that Disney is in has basically asked them to put masks back on when they're indoors, and I'm sure all the theme parks are like, thanks for changing policy 8 days after you changed it the first time. I'm sure they're just
yeah.
thrilled with how things are changing on a dime there. But
Yeah, and
you know,
I know Disney's not for everyone. It was a real shot to the heart for for our family. We had full intention. This was to be, actually is still planning this fall to be the
yep.
50th anniversary celebration of Walt Disney World in Orlando, and we had plans about a year and a half ago to get back um, to Walt Disney World in June of this year, but
Mhm.
we pivoted to the outdoor adventure vacation itinerary instead.
Yep.
Largely because, well, I mean, there were some spots out in that part of the country that I had not had a chance to visit yet that I wanted to check off my list. But other than that, I just don't really have an appetite for writing a $7,000 check to Walt
Hmm.
Disney to have to walk around wearing a mask in the Orlando
Yep.
summertime, and
Yep. That
not to
that
sound
is
selfish, but
torture. That's not a vacation. That
that's
is torture, Scotty. That
that's
is not
just
a
that's just
vacation.
not that's just not my jam. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, we put that off, and I don't know, right now what next year kind of looks like. Maybe we'll revisit that, or we might just hit a few more national parks
Yeah.
instead, and just give that another year. We're kind of leaving that open ended right now, but
Yep. We're in the same boat. We were supposed to be down there right now. Actually, our plan was to do July 2021, and
Yeah.
that hit a wall real fast. And now the plan is maybe July or August next year. And I just hope things are back to normal by next summer. But I'm not giving anything certainty at this point because it seems like every time I think things are getting better, things stop getting better in a hurry. So I'm going to stop saying things are getting better. So
Yeah,
we
for
shall see.
sure. Well, to sort of shift to some actual BDL talk, the reason anyone who's listening to this show, I guess, is actually here, they don't want to hear our opinions on vaccinations
Of
in
course
Walt
they
Disney
do.
World, I
We're
don't think.
scientists,
But
Scotty. Everybody knows that. We're scientists, both of us.
what are you, a Republican?
Yeah. Oh, Joe won't like that line, and then Brian will definitely not like that, and Bill will be like, "Finally, somebody with a brain on this show."
Oh boy. I think I need to open the show. I was thinking a little bit about this today, how to open today's show, and I think I think the way things have transpired this season so far, I need to open this show with an apology,
Mm.
and that apology is extended from me to Brian and the Crawford Cramps. If you'll recall from our season preview show, not that I don't believe in any way threw shade at the Cramps and their off-season efforts to bolster that club there, but I did give the nod to the elevation to take the division
Nice call,
in the,
Scotty.
the West Division in 2021, and it literally might be the single worst call in the history of BDL
Oh,
podcasts
yeah,
because you pull up the standings page right now,
yeah, they're a
and
couple
the
games back,
Cramps,
Scotty. They're a couple games back.
a couple, yeah. The Cramps are not. They're not 47 games ahead of last place in the
No,
West Division. They're 47 games ahead of second place
yeah,
in the West Division, which is not even the Kill Devil Hills elevation. It is the Grays Hugh Lions half
yeah,
a game ahead of the elevation. Not that it matters who is a half a game ahead of who or what in the
yeah.
West right now. Looking at really one of the more, and I have not taken the time to analyze. The extrapolation of the record at this point in the season compared to historically right now. I don't know what the Cramps are looking at in terms of a historical run, but suffice it to say, it is impressive.
Yep,
And I missed the mark
just a little bit.
badly on
Just a
that
little bit.
call.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of room for error in preseason projections and predictions. So most of the time, I wouldn't feel the need to apologize for missing one by a few games, but this is embarrassing.
It's gonna happen sometimes. This is
Yeah,
what happens. This is
I
what
don't know.
happens, Scotty, when you try to have a hot take on our show, and
I guess you're right.
and you pick a game
That
to
that
keep
should have
everybody had. Just don't do that.
that should have never happened.
Yeah,
You're looking at, gosh, look at that 104 wins here in July, 768 winning percentage. Obviously the best club in the league this
yeah.
year.
I don't know about that, but all right.
Okay, by
Record,
record,
yeah, that's a really bad year this year.
by record.
Yeah,
You pull up and look at, of course, the power ranking
yeah,
is between the Cramps and your club, the Rockets,
yeah,
is a dead heat at 39.5. So things are still tight. Things are still
yeah,
close. The Rockets actually hold a slight lead over the Cramps in the all important breakdown ranking, which we all know is a very good indicator of a club's true strength in kind of in real time there. Um, so certainly, setting record aside, one of the two best teams in the
yeah.
BDL,
I honestly
along with
think
the
they are the
Rockets.
best team. Actually, I think they're the best roster right now in the league. And
It's a nice roster. It's a nice roster, and you look at what Otani's doing,
that's without Mike
and
Trout.
what's that?
That's without Mike Trout.
Uh, you're
That
right. That
that
is
that's why
without
I said
my
that's the best team. You know,
It's without Mike.
when
It's
you have that record and you're going to add the best player in baseball to your team, it's
yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. The Cramps, they're looking mighty fine right now,
Hmm.
and I think before we were on the air tonight, you made a comment that it really sort of reminds you of one of the old NorCal runs of the early 2000s, or excuse me,
Or
the kind of
tens, yeah,
the mid late 2000s there, what the 09 10,
yeah. Like
somewhere
that
through there.
that 9, 10, 11 damage team that would regularly win their division by like 60, 70 games.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
this team is
yeah.
reminding me a lot of that team. And they're built to have a pretty good run up at the top because, it's tough to make up 47 games in the standings year over year. So I don't think, I don't think any of those three teams, like I'm sure they're going to all get better. I don't think the Cramps are going to get 47 games worse. I don't think they're going to get 47 games better. So I think Brian's going to have a little bit of a run up top of that division.
I mean, I just, you look at a club like the Elevation that is sort of, one of we've talked a million times, just
Hmm.
kind of one of the standards of consistency in the BDL, an up and coming team like the Lions. Alex, I think, had a lot of enthusiasm coming into the year. John trying to do a few things. Those three clubs right now just have to be completely and utterly dejected
Yeah.
about what they're seeing. They're in division competition, and I just don't know that I see much of a way out for those clubs for the foreseeable future. If this is kind of the lay of the land in the West and what we're seeing from Crawford right now, it's really impressive.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest, this is going to sound silly. If I'm one of those teams, I just forget the Cramps are my division. I'm playing for a wild card spot, and I just hope to get them on an off week in the playoffs because as we've all seen in our league, being the best team in the regular season don't mean much once the playoffs start.
No,
So
no,
I think,
it certainly doesn't. I mean, and I think historically in the BDL, what we've seen is what matters is getting to the
yeah,
postseason,
and being
and
healthy
you
once you get
know
there. That's all it
exactly, and
is.
the that's it's all about a dice roll. Once you get to that point, and we've seen it over and over. The best team, quote unquote, best team in the league, best record in the league, has very seldomly taken home the BDL championship.
Hmm.
And so, as much as we are gushing over the Cramps right now, there's still a long road to go for Brian and his club. But um, make no mistake, they are positioned quite well,
They sure are.
uh, quite well, and won't maybe get into the other PCL division, the North, too much right now. I think we'll explore that maybe a little bit with our upcoming interview on this episode, but a really fascinating race shaping up for the division title in the North this year after a hot start by the Mounties, and now the Beers, after a really poor start, have come on strongly here as of late and are uh, kind of returning to form, I guess you could say. And that race looks to be quite entertaining as we head down the stretch. The other two divisions, I don't know what kind of thoughts you have here in the ACL. The East, the Rockets are. You have two commanding, not 47 game leads over second place, certainly, but two very similar situations in the South and the East with 17 and 17 and a half game leads over second place in both of those divisions. So just not competitive at all. And maybe that's really a sub thread that we need to explore on an upcoming show, Mike. We have one division in the BDL this year that is highly competitive, and the other three are just cakewalks at the moment.
I don't know
At the
about the
top,
East is good. Yeah, yeah. To be honest, I'm not convinced the East is going to stay this way. Like I don't think I have a 700 team. I don't think like
you
there's just
you
there's
you
just
believe the Rockets are going to have? I mean, are you about to blow a 17 and a half game?
I
lead over
don't.
second
I
place?
don't
I
think
don't
I'm
think
gonna
so.
blow a 7.5 game lead, but I'm guessing by the time the season's over, that's gonna be single digits. That's my guess.
Uh, that I mean, possibly.
That's
That I
my
mean,
guess.
possibly. And of course, we're not talking about early round playoff matchups, wild card. Anything could happen when we get there, and there certainly are. Top to bottom in the East, you've got strong clubs.
Yeah,
Everyone at this juncture has a winning percentage above 500. So as usual,
yeah,
as we all always expect, the East
yeah.
is stacked.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying at
Four.
this point. And to be honest with you, this is getting ridiculous. Like every and to be honest, it's funny that you opened up with an apology at the beginning of the show about the cramps. I think I need to apologize to the entire league for saying the South was going to be a little worse this year. I was clearly far too kind, saying the South was going to be a little worse this year. Like as bad as we all expected this division to be, this is a train wreck, Scotty. Like at the beginning of the year, we were talking about realignment. I think we need to talk contraction at some point because this is this is pitiful. Like you're 546, you would be tied for last in my division. You're up 17 games in yours. Like
Well, yeah,
there's
that's
just
true. Now
something wrong.
the Generals do have two wins against East teams this year, so there's not. I mean, when we look at the South, of course, I'm obviously going to take up for the Gens here. You're looking at two through
Oh, the
four.
Jets
The
are
Chicks.
the Jets are not the problem, Scotty. The Jets are fine. I'm talking about the rest of the grease fire that you call the division right now. Like,
Uh,
a lot of
yeah, I
people
mean,
were picking, like at
if
the
you want
beginning
to
of the
talk,
season, I think some people were picking the Wallabies to beat you, right? I believe
I think was it
I
Joe?
stupidly said that the Gens and Wallabies would be a coin toss, and I feel like an idiot right about now
Yeah,
because
where's my apology?
yeah, just a coin toss, which it was clearly a two-headed coin. Uh, you know, Picking the Wallabies, a team that I just cleaned the floor with 10-0 in our last matchup. Like this is just a pitiful looking division. Like
If
it
you
is
want to talk
really bad.
if we're talking about contraction, I guess we're kissing, we're waving sayonara to one of the co-commissioners because
It's been a
Brent
tough
is
year for
voted off
Brent.
the island.
Yeah, it's been a tough year
Yeah,
for Brent. Jeez.
tough year for the Wallabies.
Yeah,
Wow, yeah, 364.
yeah.
Not the worst record in the league, but very close.
He's
Second worst
trying.
record in the league.
Yeah, he's trying
Yeah,
to be
only
worse.
only Wrigleyville is worse, and they're
Yeah.
just down there getting pounded in the teeth by the cramps
Hmm.
multiple times this year. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of the. Well, I mean, of course, I know what to make of the South. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a runaway,
it's a one
but
team division.
it's
That's what's the make
you
of the
know
South.
what to make of of the other three teams and kind of where they all go from here as they begin at this stage. Obviously, well, I would hope it's obvious to them that they should begin turning an eye toward 2022 at this stage.
Or
I don't.
2027 or 2028 or 2029. Jeez.
I, oh, those poor schmucks. I don't know where they go. I really just don't know. It's not good.
We
It's
got to
and
get
I
Zach and
know
these guys on the phone and just yell at them for 20 minutes. After all the.
Zach has some good young pieces, and maybe it's starting to show a little bit, and that's why they've clawed their way to second place. And maybe there's some turnaround there potential, not this season, of course, but
No.
I just that may be being a little generous too. I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Well,
yeah.
things can turn
So
around. Yeah, things can turn around. So we've been saying that for about 5 years. Things are going to turn around any year now. Things are going to get better.
any year, yeah, any year now. Yeah, I think the Chicks might be the what's the term the nega damage. Because we were always saying this is the year they take a stumble. They fall,
Yeah.
they're out of the playoffs, and we say the opposite about the Chicks. But
Yeah, we'll
yeah,
see. Who knows? Who knows? You know,
who knows?
I
But
guess things can
yeah,
be
I
pretty
mean,
soon.
I don't know that really we're seeing any surprises, except possibly one that again we'll kind of talk about a little more in our interview coming up here in just a few minutes. But as far as surprises this season, I guess the cramps surprised me, surprised no one else. I was the
Mhm.
Dunbo on that one. But again, the Rockets in firm control of the East Division, Generals in control of the South Division by a similar margin. Um, I don't know that we're seeing anything play out that is really all that off base from kind of where we thought things would be.
Yeah. I think at the beginning of the year, like I'd have to go back to our preview show, but I think most of us picked the Gens to win the East, so to win the South. Sorry, all of you guys except for me, I think, picked my team to win the East, so that's looking okay. I think we all picked the Beers, and they have a small lead in the North, and most of us outside of you picked the Cramps. So I think for the most part, the division leaders aren't shocking. Certainly, I'm surprised the Cardinals are in third. I think that surprises most people.
Well, I mean,
But it's
again,
a small
I
gap.
think that's you have to factor in the East curve there.
Yeah.
Say you surprised that they're in third. Well, they have 75 wins.
Yeah.
They've had a relatively good year, all things
That's a good
considered.
point.
It's just that
Yeah.
they the cards play in the East, the damage, the
Yeah.
double
That's a good
downs.
point.
It's all relative.
I guess I'm just surprised he's 20 and a half games back of me more than anything.
Okay, now that I'll agree with. That is, I did believe that would have been the race in the South, excuse me, in the East this year, and that it would have been pretty close.
Yeah. Me too.
Certainly within, I will say,
A game. Yeah.
three. Well, I
I don't
mean,
mean a
across
game. I mean, as in if we play each other
a matchup, a
yeah,
matchup.
in a
Yes, yeah,
matchup,
right.
yeah,
Yes,
it
yeah.
could
I
flip.
would have thought. I would have thought, and we'll see. Maybe things will turn around and it'll get a little closer, tighten up some.
Yeah.
I would have thought that division between first and second would have ended up, 3 to 5 games apart by the end of the year, and not sure that's going to happen now, but we'll we'll see where that ends up. But any other thoughts so far mid-season here, Mike, as we are settling in at the All-Star break and looking toward uh, rounding the curve toward the latter part of the season here?
Yeah, for me, the big story of this entire season has just been the injuries, and
Mm-hmm.
across the league, they've just been, teams have been decimated. Like I know the Bears have made a nice little run. If you look at their roster now, I know Chris posted something recently where he's like, his entire pitching staff is on the IL, and he's not that far off. Like he's got 7 starters, I think, right now on the IL, all pitchers. Like I don't know what his schedule looks like the next few weeks, but this would not be a good time to be playing the Mounties or a team like that. Fortunately for him, who does he have? I just pulled up my schedule and said, "Oh, he's lucky. He's got the Chicks this week. This week, that's my team actually. I got the Chicks this week. He's got the Lions, and then he's got the Cramps. So his pitchers better get back quick, fast, in a hurry before that Cramps matchup.
Yeah.
So yeah, we shall see. For me, the injuries are the big thing. I just lost Acuna, which is not something I was terribly happy to see. But these things happen. It's sports, and guys get hurt.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think we've all dealt with that uh, to a decent degree this season. But as you said, it's just part of what you deal with, and you just hope you're deep enough to weather those storms
hmm
and get back to a better place. But
hmm
we are very excited this show, Mike, to bring on your fellow Canadian, Mr. Stephen of the Moncton Mounties, and
I'm not that
um,
excited, Scotty. Honestly, I'm really not that excited about this.
I'm just excited
Not
that
excited at all.
my Appalachian tongue got through Moncton twice
Moncton,
now. Yay, Moncton,
Moncton.
darn it!
Yeah,
Oh
Moncton.
well,
Yes, that's pretty close. I
I
grade you
gave it my
Southerners
best
on a
shot.
curve for this stuff. If you hit it close, if you hit it
It's
close,
like
we're not
it's
just.
like grading the East.
It's exactly. Oh, in this case, the
Where
South. If you're close, that's a victory.
all
You
right.
lost 8-2.
I,
That's pretty good. We're not gonna get mad.
Well, you know how it goes in the South. We celebrate close losses. So,
Yeah, you go.
this should. But we are very excited to have Stephen join us here. Of course, outside of his co-worker, Mike, yourself. We have not really had a chance to get to know Stephen all that well outside of the forum, of course.
Mhm.
This being his first year in the league, so we invited him on the show this episode, and we are going to throw it on over to our interview with Stephen right now. Okay, guys, we are here with the BDL's newest general manager, Stephen, of the, and I'm going to try to get this right this time. Mike tells me is it Moncton? Not Moncton.
Moncton, yeah.
Moncton. Okay.
Moncton.
Okay. Well, my English background says that's spelled incorrectly, but we're going to roll with it. Moncton Mounties. Uh, Stephen, great to have you on the show today. It's been really fun getting to know you on the forum so far. I think you've been a great addition to what we do around here and just the community and the forum community, and you really just wasted no time in just sort of inserting yourself and your Canadian tomfoolery into our lives. So thank you for that, sir, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for the invite into the league. It's been fun. It's been fun trash talking, but I get a little bit more rude once I know people. So Mike knows this is probably the nicest he's ever seen me.
Yeah.
You need to get over that quickly because
He's gonna get worse, is what he's saying. Yeah, it's gonna get worse.
Pretty much. Yeah, my filter just doesn't exist once I know people. So
yes,
that's great. That's great. Well, probably, arguably, the biggest story the Mounties are in the BDL this year, in my opinion. But maybe we'll get to that a little more in a few minutes. But first things first, just congratulations on being the third, if memory serves, Canadian BDL GM. Round of applause.
Hooray for Stephen.
Hey, wait? You guys had another one and you let him go?
Don was an interesting. I'm not even sure if he was Canadian, Stephen. To be quite
Probably
honest,
not.
Yeah, he claims he was. It didn't really seem very Canadian to me.
He was. Let me see if I can look that up real quick. He was from
Sarnia, I think, right?
Oh, I used to play Sarnia in hockey all the time. It was a bunch of hicks.
I think he was.
So his I just pulled up his Facebook page and it looks like Johnny and Bill are still his Facebook friends.
Well, there you go.
This was like 10 years. It was a long time ago. It says he's from Kirkland Lake.
Okay.
Ontario,
Mm-hmm.
and lives now in, is it Aurelia? Is that
Aurelia?
correct?
Aurelia,
Yeah. So anyway, well, shout out to Don. It's been a long time. You'll never hear this, but
nope.
Sorry we had to force you out, Don. Best of luck in all your future endeavors. But yeah, but it's pretty much, the most uninteresting honor we've ever bestowed on someone around here, being the third Canadian GM. Yeah. So just round that into a congratulatory statement. But anyway, we're glad you're here. Yeah. But you've had, a few months now to settle in into your role in the BDL. So it's always fun to ask the incoming GMs what their first impressions of the league are. So I'll just give you a kind of a podium for a minute or two, and yeah, tell us what you think. Good, bad, ugly.
Oh yeah, once I got on there and I said that Mike's like, we have a writer for Baseball America, and we have it. I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm way over my head now. But then I heard Mike won the league, so I was like, all right, I think this shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, no, I feel like when I got there, I got a couple welcoming private messages, which was nice, and it just seemed like an overall good group to be in. Like, yeah, I was always looking for this type of fantasy league in any sport, really, other than basketball. Yeah, I tried to start one in hockey, and we got it going, and then the lockout hit, and I just killed it. But
and we probably via email or some other means. Probably we've talked a little bit about this before privately, but had you ever taken on a dynasty league team before? Has it, or is this a new experience for you?
Dynasty League is new. Keeper leagues I have done. Dynasty League where the guy's yours and until you trade him or drop him. No, I haven't done that. Which was what was when Mike first told me about this league. I think it was 2 years ago. Really excited me about it. The fact that you could have a bunch of minor league players and you can actually keep them. You didn't have to. Well, you didn't. You have 20 of them, but
And
you.
especially if you're the killer cars, you literally keep them
Yeah.
all the time,
Forever. Yeah.
forever.
Until they turn into good players, then you trade them immediately.
Well, he just traded 3 of them, so
Yeah.
he just traded 3 of them for
Oh,
Burns.
Yeah,
So,
he did. He
so,
did.
so
Yeah,
there's that.
gosh.
Johnny's thing has been to add as many minor leaguers to our roster. Like this is a topic that comes up in the winter
Oh,
meetings.
he's the one who's always asking
Basically,
for more.
yeah, like
Yeah,
28,
yeah, yeah.
38, 108. Like just give him as many minor
Yeah.
leaguers as you possibly can. This comes up every
And
couple of
the,
years.
the scary thing, and really, I think the reason we've kind of resisted increasing that in the past is that I think with the owners that we have in this league, largely, they would be those spots would be utilized really well
Yeah.
across the league, and there's kind of a fear that if that was to happen, you would see maybe the I'm trying not to be insensitive, but the maybe the more cerebral of the GMs among our group would kind of really exploit that,
Mhm.
to their advantage for a long time, and
Yeah.
it would maybe dig some holes that would be hard for two or three teams to dig out
Yeah.
of. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's kind of a protecting us from ourselves kind of mentality on that one. Although there have been multiple moves over the years to try to increase that, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think
Maybe
20 is a lot when you have a 16-team league. That's a
It's
it's a
pretty
deep
big
it's
pool.
deep
deep.
It's
pool.
a deep
Yeah.
pool.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm curious? How did you mentioned Mike had mentioned the league to you a couple years ago, and I'm of course when we had the vacancy, the opening for the former Scorpions. Um, uh, Obviously, he came back to you and let you know that it was available and those things. But I'm curious how Mike pitched you on the BDL vacancy. I mean, what was his? How did he sell that to you?
He said, "There's an opening. Do you want in?" That's pretty much it. He knew I was interested from the
Yeah.
time he talked about it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Canadians are so dry,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I think he probably saw me working, not working, Scotty. To be honest with
We
you, and he's
used
probably
to
like,
we used
"What
to
is that?"
literally sit right behind each other.
Yeah.
Like we had our backs like basically we were back to back and we would just turn around and I could see his computer if I turned around
Yeah.
and he would show me he'd show me his roster and he talked about it. So he knew if there was ever an opening and he asked me, I would jump on it.
Yeah.
He
Cool,
sent me an
cool.
email and I'm pretty sure you might have even been on the first email he sent me about it. And he said, "Hey, this is Steven. He wants to join."
Yeah.
Well, it was, yeah, I guess that's simple. But yeah, and I think let's talk a little bit about your first season, full season here in the BDL. You opened the 2021 campaign with, I think it was 6 consecutive matchup victories, taking control of the North Division way early on. And as things stand today, you're only a half game behind the Beers for the North lead after you kind of carried that torch for the North pretty much the entire season up until really just this past matchup. Clearly, your division appears to be headed for a too close to call type of situation here as we around the corner toward the latter half of the season. Um, Probably will come down to the final couple weeks or so to decide a winner. So it's always exciting to see races like that. But were you surprised to jump out of the gate with that kind of momentum as a year one GM in the BDL?
Uh, yes and no. When I looked at my team, I was like, "Man, this is a very good team." So I didn't tried to not do too much and not do anything stupid with it, basically. So a lot of rejecting trades when I first came in because a lot of people were trying to test me. I think see what they could get off me.
Yeah.
Uh, but I knew this team was strong. I was hoping Thor would come back. That was one thing that now he's not, so it's a little bit of a kick in the butt. But yeah, I didn't think they would be. I mean, some of the guys just went nuts. I mean, what did Johnny Peralta have like 8 hits one night? Like, and
Yeah.
not Johnny Peralta, David Peralta, Johnny Peralta. Wow, I'm old.
That
Uh,
was that was a
I was wondering when the hell Johnny Peralta came back into baseball. Man, what the hell happened?
but yeah, like I didn't expect them to be that good. I knew that it was a strong team, and probably I knew Chris's team was the only one in the division that would even like close. But yeah, I didn't expect like the craziness, like how good they were right off the bat. They've
yeah,
kind of
and
cooled
I
off.
guess yeah, I mean, yeah, they've cooled off a little bit, but I really, you juxtapose that start against last season, and of course, in all fairness, last season was a much smaller sample size, with the season setup that we had to roll out due to the pandemic related schedule changes, and your franchise was just doing a quick look here. Certainly in the bottom half of the league last year, and might have been in the bottom third or
They
so.
lost. They
Looks
lost in the first round, and then made the finals of the consolation, and lost in the final. And
yeah,
I know that because I had that pick.
19 total wins.
Yeah.
19 total wins, and the best team in the league last year looks like 26
Who was that?
total wins.
Who's that, Scotty?
That was you had the
The joke.
damn.
Just a
Well,
joke.
okay. Well, I've got the standings pulled up. Actually, it looks like
Yeah, I think they're
these might be
messed up.
combined.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
I
it's
think they're
messed
kind
up
of
a little
messed up.
bit actually.
Yeah,
So I should stop talking. But
yeah.
yeah, you've got three teams posting 26. Yeah, something's anyway.
Yeah.
It was a down year. In any case, for your franchise last year, although you weren't involved at that time, but just to kind of come out throwing punches immediately. We haven't. I guess that's a relevant question in my mind because we don't see that too often in the BDL with new owners, new GMs when they come in, and granted, most of the time, the new guys are taking over rebuilding clubs, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Um, but so I mean, you really probably had a little bit of a leg up, more so than most historically, but we've also seen the kind of the other side of the coin in these cases where you'll have someone come in, have a pretty darn decent team out of the gate, and
Destroy it.
just not just exactly
Take
just
take take
not
me take
understand what
take
they're
me
doing.
for instance, Scotty. If you want an example, if you want an example of what not to do when taking over a roster, look at what I did.
Mike might have Mike might have cost himself two early titles,
Yeah, that's where
maybe.
it's possible. Yeah, because I didn't know
Yeah.
what I didn't know what I was doing, Steven.
Yeah.
And basically, my first 12 months, the team was good that I took over. It was older, and I took them from a good older team to a horrible young team inside of 6 months. It was a sight to behold. Let me tell you. And then it basically took me another year to figure out what I was doing, and I've been pretty good since then. So, but
Yeah,
it,
but
it was it was an ugly first year. Like I made some the crap trade offers that I accepted. My God, like it was
so
it
maybe
was
it's your fault I got a bunch of those when I first joined. Then
you know
they
you
thought,
know
oh,
what the thing is,
another new Canadian, I can get anything off of them.
yeah,
They're
you know
too
what
nice
the
to say
thing
no.
that's part of it, and we got some guys in this league that I'm convinced sent offers hoping that somebody hits the wrong button.
I was just about to say that
That's
I get
that's
spam.
my only thought because
I'm
sometimes I
not
get
going to mention
offers.
any names, but someone was spamming me when I first time. I was like, is he just waiting for me to hit the wrong button?
Yeah, they're not spamming you. Like to be honest, like I've been in the league now for, geez, how many years have I been in the league? It's been what 12 or 13 years because Joseph was a baby when I joined this league, and
Yeah, it's
I'm
been a long
I'm
time.
I'm 12 years and two titles and a decade of being a really good team in, and I still get a half dozen trade offers a year where I just look at it And I just think to myself, why did they think I would even consider accepting this offer? And I get a half dozen of those a year. I was like, I don't get it, guys. It's just a waste of everybody's time even sending this. But you know,
Well,
it's
give
always
them
fun.
points for persistence. I
I
mean,
I
let's.
Yeah,
I guess, and for comedy because half of the time I will
yeah,
take that email and I'll flip it off to a couple guys in the league and say, "Can you believe this shit, guy?" And they just laugh their asses off. That's hilarious. It's funny. It's funny. You know.
but I think too. No, just going back to the team last year compared to this year. I think when I was talking to Mike too, and I was training off, I put almost no stock in last year's stats for players.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of people
Mhm.
were trying to get Moncada, Baez, and just they were horrible last year.
Mhm.
And I was in my head, I was like, no, I'm not like And then they're trying to trade me guys who had great 2020s, and it's like it's a 60 game sample.
Yep.
I'm not
Right.
touching that.
Right.
Like whatever
Yep.
they did in 2019, I'll look at, not 2020. Like basically a write off last year.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
Marte
Yeah.
hit one home run last year or something like that. Let me pull him up. I think he hit like one home run all of last year or something. Oh, two. He had two home runs last year. He hit that in like the first week.
Yep.
So
Yep. There's a whole bunch of stats with the exception of the BDL title, everything else you can throw out the window
yeah,
last year,
yeah.
honestly. With the exception of that, because that guy earned that championship, but everything else you can throw out.
Uh, speaking of trade offers, Stephen, how many do you think you've rejected so far this year?
Oh God.
That should be good.
Oh, I don't know. Probably about 30. Yeah,
Yikes!
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, half of them from one guy.
I get a text from Steven every 4 days. Like, oh, come on. Come, is he joking? I'm there. No, he's not joking.
No, but I talked.
No, he's not kidding.
No,
That
but
wasn't a
I
joke.
also talked to him on the boards too, which is
Yeah.
I don't know if he seems very crafty just from the trades he's pulled off, and I'm like, you know what, it works for him, so I
Yeah.
guess that's what he's. I mean, he's very good at what he does,
Yeah.
so I can't really complain about it too
Yeah.
much because you know
Yeah.
what, he's been doing it. Obviously, he's been doing it for a while, and his team's
Yeah.
good, and
Yeah.
and he seems to pull off these trades where I look at him going, really? How did he pull that off?
Yeah.
So he's a
Really,
good
we're
man.
really
He's good at the job. So
really narrowing things down here.
Yeah.
Better tread lightly.
We're talking about Scotty. Everybody knows we're talking about
yeah.
Scotty.
Hey,
Obviously, that's who we're talking about.
Hey, I mean, I just complimented him, so I don't think he'll be too
You
upset.
can't be
I've
mad at
not.
you. Can't be mad
I
at
don't actually. I don't think I have. I think I've only made like one,
I don't think you've made an
two,
offer to me at all.
two. No, I've not made an offer to you.
No.
That's for sure. I think Mike and I. I think we made a preseason trade, and then I had made another trade with Ort. I begged Brent to trade with me, and he went and sold the person I wanted to someone else, sight unseen, basically, with what he got back. And we still aren't speaking over that. But yeah, you've had a lot more. It sounds like activity that I have this year. They're still testing you for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
But
I don't blame him really, but
Yeah.
I'm not. Uh, I'm not ready to blow my team up. I don't think I will be because most of my guys are still quite young too. So
right.
not a bunch of old guys.
You're coming off of a victory, of course, over the Lions in week 14. But as you alluded to, have had some unevenness here in the last few weeks. You fell with a 1-9 score to the Bears, your North Division primary rival at the moment.
Yeah.
Fell to the Bears the week prior to that in what was, I think an important North Division head-to-head showdown.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel that you learned, if anything, about what you needed from your club this year to compete down the stretch following that loss to the Bears?
Well, I need pitching, and I need my guys to get healthy. That's why I'm not really too panicked right now, because I know my team's very, very good, but I've got Marte, Kana, and Upton all on the IL right now. When they went on the IL, I think Kana and Upton were both in the top 100. So I feel like if they get healthy before the playoffs, I should be okay, which not really panicking right now. I know I'm gonna make the playoffs, but I do need pitching. That's been a struggle. I've got DeGrom, who's been pretty much carrying me. That's after him, not much.
Yeah, it's not too difficult in the PCL to feel confident about making the playoffs when you have the
You have a
cramps in
pulse.
one division.
Yeah,
If you have a
Just
pulse, you're in the playoffs, Steve.
just
yeah,
just giving a Mike Tyson uppercuts to the entire West Division down there, and uh, yeah, we talked about that a little earlier. Crawford is just really on fire this year, but um,
yeah. He is, and that's. I just have to get. Someone's got to get lucky when they face him one week. Tatis and Guerrero need to take a few nights off, and
Mhm.
that's the thing about fantasy baseball. You can be so good, and then the one week when you're in the playoffs, the guys you need are they're tired or they took a break or they get hurt for a couple days, and it's
that's
like your whole
hey,
season's over.
listen, you are absolutely preaching to the choir. I have I have two titles in the BDL. Setting those titles aside, I have won the regular season in 3 other years that were not title
Not
years.
those ones.
Um,
Different years.
so that's painful. But yeah, you really, it's about in this kind of league, I think, setting yourself up for success, and that just really means engineering your team in a manner that when you are in the postseason, you have a respectable chance
Yeah.
to stay hot, to stay healthy, and kind of have what you need to get over the hump. And really, it's just about getting there and then letting the chips fall. And so I think you certainly have the right attitude about that for sure. And we talked a little bit about your uh, trade rejections, but you did seem to find a couple of early dance partners in the BDL, engaging with both the Amish Brotherhood and the Rockets, I think, early on and somewhat often in trade activity.
Yeah.
Um, this makes you, in addition to being only our third Canadian GM, this makes you a rare commodity as someone who can actually find a way to trade with Joe when he's not grumpy. So, uh,
I don't really know the backstory to that, but it sounded funny.
Yeah.
so I mean, any I guess any stories that you can share just from those exchanges and kind of how those moves came together. And Joe, of course, his Amish Brotherhood were quite quite the powerhouse the last certainly couple seasons, for sure, if not maybe one or two more there, going back. And as the Amish are wont to do from time to time, just decided it was time to cash out. So I think you maybe kind of took advantage of the early process of Joe making that decision. But
No, I think the one trade we made was actually not really a rebuilding trade for him, but I needed pitching. He needed a middle infielder, so I gave him.
okay,
What did I give him? The
Polanco.
guy from the Twins,
Polanco.
Polanco.
oh,
Yes,
okay,
Yeah.
and he gave me
okay, that
Keiko.
must have been earlier on then.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
before
he,
he.
and I got Keiko, who has, I mean, he's been better than a lot of the guys I have, but and then I got Kana from him for I think someone who's like a hometown favorite for him, the Perdomo from Arizona.
Right, right.
Yeah, I figured I was like, oh, I think. See, I'm not a. I think Perdomo's like a glove speed guy, so I didn't think his fantasy value was that great, so I was okay to let him go.
Hmm. Well, so based on kind of where you have come from at the start of the season, where you are now, and kind of inverting that and looking at where the beers have come from with the slow start, and now they're sort of coming on and picking up momentum. Just candidly, how do you feel about that dynamic going into the last several weeks of the regular season here? I mean, what how do you think that's going to play out?
Oh, I think I'll probably take him, but I mean, his team. I looked at his team when it started, and there was no reason for him to be as I think he was in third place at one time. I think Amish was ahead of him, but he's got a lot of injuries. I'm looking at his list right now. He's got Darvish, Gallen, Sonny Gray, all on the IL. So I mean, and he's also got Francisco Lindor on his team. So I mean, he can't be that good. Uh, but no, I think it's gonna be close. If my guys get healthy, I think I'll take them. But I don't know. I haven't looked at the schedule. Do I play him again? I don't think I do.
You do the last week of the season,
Oh, okay. So that'll be huge.
which I'm guessing it's going to set up perfectly.
Well, I get to play Kill Devil
for
Hills
that.
next, so there's 2 pitching categories I won't win.
Yeah.
Speaking of pitching, he's got it all, so I can't really go and pick anyone up either.
That's our art.
Yeah, the first matchup I played against him, I saw he had like 20 starts remaining, and I was like, "What? How is that possible?"
Yeah, he has a knack
Guys,
for starting 25 pitchers. I don't know how he does it.
he sure does. Guys, I have some breaking news here as we sat down to record, or at least Mike, you and I a little earlier. I received a rather large trade offer from one of our favorite GMs there, and hadn't even had a chance really to look it over that much, and just got an alert that it has officially been withdrawn. So there is no need for concern.
Please forward me this trade offer. I want to see this.
We're not going to talk about this on the air, Mike.
Oh, we really should. Let's knock up the ratings, baby. Let's knock up the ratings.
I was looking at Ort's team, and he actually has my biggest mistake. I dropped the Scalfini. I dropped the Scalfani, and I kept Cobb, and Cobb is now off my team. And I remember just kicking myself after that because he's been great this year.
Steven, if your biggest mistake is dropping Anthony DeScalfini, you're doing very good things.
That was
my biggest mistake in year one was trading a young Zach Greinke for something called Faustino de los Santos. That's a mistake. Dropping Anthony DeScalfini is nothing you're gonna regret in 5 years.
Wait, you traded? How old was Greinke?
Well, this was 11 years ago. I don't know how old he is now. So, but he would have been in Kansas City still, so he would have been a pretty young guy. Oh, wait.
Ort also has Alex Cobb, so he's
got both guys. Good work, Ort. Yeah, so, yeah, the key, for you, I think, this season, and I'm sure we went over it before you even joined the league, is just don't do anything stupid, and you're probably going to be pretty good, because I think the mistake a lot of new managers make when they come in is they're overly aggressive, and they want to build a team in their image. And the problem is they don't know what that image is going to look like. So, I think the key is just to kind of take your time, relax, don't do anything crazy. You get a feel for what player value is, because we've got a lot of really great storytellers in this league that can sell you guys that aren't worth the damn really for your best players. And, the key is really just avoiding the big mistakes. And if you can do that for your first year, you're probably going to be all right.
Yeah, I think that was my message to pretty much everyone who made a trade offer to me was I just want to see how my team plays out for the first few months before I do anything. Yeah. Some of them, it didn't deter a lot of them.
No. I updated my block with a message of don't even bother sending me Acuna offers. And I got 2 offers within 5 minutes of setting up with that.
I think they might have been troll jobs.
They might have been, but I don't know if they were.
I was thinking about sending one after I saw him got carried off from the stretcher. So
yeah, it's like, all right, guys. I'm not sure if the answer is no wasn't clear enough, but apparently it wasn't. So
you never responded. You never responded, Mike, to my cruise for Acuna.
Yeah, and you're right. There's a reason why I didn't respond to that.
Wait, that's
rude.
Which cruise are we talking about?
Doesn't matter.
Well, Nelson, of course.
Hans Cruz used to be in the league.
Didn't Mike trade you Nelson Cruz already?
I did.
Mike and I have swapped Nelson Cruz like 6 times.
Yeah, you're right. Scotty and I make 2 giant trades every 3 years. I don't know why that is.
This is true.
We just make gigantic 8-player deals once every 18 months. And the thing is, they tend to usually work out pretty well for both of us, which is why we probably keep doing this. We tend not to offer us horrendous deals. Our valuation is usually pretty close to reality when we send each other offers.
Pretty close.
Deals usually, don't take very long, because usually that makes a lot of sense. Let's do this. or as opposed to some other owners in this league. I'm not going to name any names, where it just seems like they're on friggin' bizarro planet as far as player evaluation. Sometimes it's like, but with Scotty and with a bunch of other guys in the league, like Kevin's another one who's really good for that. He's just got a really firm grasp of what guys are worth, which makes trade talks very very easy with a guy like that. I think we got probably maybe like a half dozen of those guys in the league.
I tried
Where,
to
where,
Yeah,
trade
where trades are
which
just really easy to make because everybody knows what these guys are worth.
yeah, I think I tried to make a trade with Kevin, but my minors are just
Not very
they're a bunch
good.
of 19-year-olds. So
Yeah,
I mean they're not very good, but they could be very good. It's just and it's like, well, if I'm going through the minor league system trying to replace them, it's like there's nothing really out there to replace them with right now
yeah,
too, right? So
yeah.
but there's a lot of lottery tickets down there for
Yeah,
mine.
Scott was the way Scott built his minor league system is a lot like the way Joe built his, with basically 15-year-old Latin kids
Yeah.
that they'll wait 6 years for, and you hope a couple of them turn into superstars. And you know what? Honestly, in theory, it isn't a bad strategy. You just have to be really, really patient with those guys and not
It
cut
just
them when
it,
things go bad in
yeah.
low A, because they might be stars the next year. So
But it makes it hard when you're
yeah,
trying to win
it
that year and
does.
you don't have any trade chips
It
when they're
really
all
does.
yeah.
It really
Because it's
does.
I have one top 100 prospect and it's not even one of those Latin guys. It's Tyler Freeman,
Yeah.
who's a very
and
good
it,
hitter.
those differences among the different owners that you're describing really makes the economy of trading, especially as it pertains to prospects, sometimes to be a little bit frustrating,
Hmm.
in this league,
Mhm.
in the sense that you have certain guys who really really value high risk but high reward 18, 19 year olds, and you have other guys who want nothing to do with them. And then the opposite is true sometimes with your more of your middle ceiling but low risk
Yeah.
blue chip college level prospects, for instance, that others seem to really prefer to load their minor league rosters with, that are not always as valued as highly as maybe they should be.
Yeah.
And that can really, I think that's where you end up with a lot of the kind of the cliquish, not on it's an accidental dynamic in the
Hmm.
league, but you end up kind of like with these little cliques of trading partners who, like Mike and I, for instance, if there's a segment of my roster that I really need to reset up or down in either direction. I just want to reset. Um, I can usually reach out to Mike and we can work something out. He will find something that makes sense value wise, and I the same. And there are a few guys that like that who it's not that their valuations are, or it's not that they're difficult to trade with per se, but it's just the valuations and what they want versus what you want and consider valuable in that currency can be way off
Yeah.
sometimes. And but also that's probably what makes a league this large um,
Work.
interesting
Yeah.
too.
Also
You're
makes it
right.
work. Yeah. Because if all 16 of us thought the same way, it would be damn near impossible to get anything done. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of
Hmm.
important that we have kind of, as you said, we have kind of different cliques of guys. And the key is to know who is in each of those cliques. Some guys really value draft picks. Other guys,
Right.
like Ort, for instance, he doesn't care about draft picks at all. While other guys, really, really value draft picks. And the key is to know which of those guys value the assets that you have to your team. Because a third round pick to me is worth a lot more than it is to say Ort.
Yeah.
So the key is really just to know how guys value assets in the league, and how they value their own guys, because some teams, and this is particularly true with prospects, some teams have a very inflated valuation of their own prospects, and to be honest, their own major league players too. One thing I learned relatively quickly in this league is not to have untouchable guys on your team. I, I
Right.
I've traded so many players that it's it is borderline ridiculous the number of trades I've made in this league, and part of that is
Yep.
just to know that there is a price on anyone. And as much as I won't trade Acuna now just because he's hurt, and I'm not going to trade him for 60 cents on the dollar, 75 cents on the dollar, there isn't a player on my team that I will not trade. It's just a
Yeah,
question of this is what I value him at, and if you pay me a penny more than what I think he's valued at, I will trade him. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to have that mindset.
Right, and along those lines, you talk about mistakes that you've made in the past, that we all have made in the past in one way or another. I can't really think of a standout trade that was just really really egregious on my end. However, I think my biggest mistake early on was, just as you're suggesting, Mike, treating certain players. I can think of the very early days of the Generals. I can think of like David Wright, Grady Sizemore,
Mm,
guys like that who I really just considered untouchable for a period of time.
yeah.
And in some cases it was maybe somewhat justified, in others not at all. But
Mhm.
I think the mistake there is that really you can allow yourself to miss out on good opportunities
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you approach things that way. And I learned after about maybe 3 seasons there early on that just is not a wise thing to do. No matter how in love you are with a certain player, they all have a value. They all have a price. And if someone comes to you offering 150 cents on a dollar,
Take it.
you probably should think about it
Yes.
really, really hard.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's a agreed, fair point. And I think, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anyone I wouldn't trade. You just got to offer me something that's worth it, right? So,
Hmm.
I mean, even Jose
Understood.
Ramirez, I'll trade him,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but I won't trade him for like an outfielder who's, I've got like 6 outfielders who are decent. So,
Well, let's get down to the real question at hand here before we sort of wrap things up. What exactly is it like to work with Mike on a
oh
day-to-day
my
basis?
god,
It's a
I don't have
gift.
to
It is a
anymore.
gift,
I haven't
Scotty.
had to sit beside him in what is it now, 16
16
months.
months. Yeah.
Well, let's
Jeez.
presume that you're going to get back to work together in the same office space, sooner than later, and maybe that won't happen. But let's just for the sake of this conversation say your office sends a memo, and within 90 days, that's what's happening, and you're back in the office, seat to seat again. So paint us a picture. What's a day in the life of
Of,
working alongside Mike Polidoro?
oh man, yeah, he eats a lot of Subway. That's
That's the worst thing you come up with.
he eats a lot of Subway and he wears a fanny pack. I remember making fun of
Yep.
him for the
Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead.
I had one in Philly when you met me, Scott. Do you remember?
You did have that.
And you guys were making fun of it then too.
my
Love
first
fanny
impression
packs.
of Mike. Okay, so it was probably like 10 years ago when we were at, and I walked in and I hear this talk radio coming from an office, and I'm like, who the hell's listening to talk radio? And it was a sports talk radio, so I respect that. But it was just oh, and then I just remember hearing that, and then being told that we're not allowed to wear headphones, and I'm like, why can't we wear headphones? This guy's got talk radio going. But no, working with Mike is actually a lot more fun than you think. It's someone to joke around with. We got a lot of people who don't like sports on our floor. So,
Almost everybody.
yeah, I did say a lot. So, or if they do, they only like basketball. I mean, who watches that shit?
Yeah, Steven's a huge, huge Poops fan, Scotty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately for you, Scotty's a friggin' Lakers.
I just love a
super
sport
fan.
where the players get together in the summer and decide, that they're gonna make up super teams and then actually have to compete with each other. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong about
maybe
that.
not. Maybe not the most appealing thing about today's NBA.
No, it's
I'll give
not.
you that.
I
But
do love that I think the Suns didn't really do that. That as far as my knowledge is concerned, that team
No,
was actually
no,
built
they didn't
properly.
because honestly, Phoenix wouldn't be able to do that if they tried.
Yeah,
Because they don't exactly have super popular ownership and management there, so it isn't like there's going to be a mad rush of guys to head over to Phoenix to play.
so I'm kind of
But
hope, but I don't think the Bucks did it either, right?
they
The
didn't.
Bucks, yeah,
They just drafted a superstar in the middle of the first round, and if you
yeah,
do that, your team's going to get pretty good almost by accident in the NBA. It has been and always will be a stars driven league. And if you got one of the best two or three players in the league, if you can surround him with something resembling good pieces, you're going to wind up in a bunch of NBA finals. And
yeah. Well,
that's
one thing
basically
the
what
NBA
Miami's done.
does do that I respect is they actually protect their stars, unlike
Yes, they
hockey,
do.
who lets their stars get the crap kicked out of them and
Yep.
thinks that that's entertainment. Like I want to watch some third line plug hurt one of the best players in the league. That's
Yep.
that's what I paid my
well,
tickets for.
Yep.
right, and one thing I've always been critical of, or have lauded the NBA for, is in their marketing of superstars,
Hmm.
and pushing the game in that way. Whereas that's not something that Major League Baseball really excels at. Frankly, Mike Trout could walk down Main Street, USA, in almost any town in this country and not be recognized by
Anybody.
95.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right. And that when that is your truth as a national sports league, that is a real problem.
Hmm.
yeah.
And that's, I think, that hurts today's game. And
And Trout plays
you
in
you
Los Angeles of all markets.
Yeah,
right.
You would
he's not in
think
Kansas City.
this guy would be on the cover of every magazine and TV commercials. Like he should be bloody everywhere.
Has he even been on the
Yeah.
cover of the show?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I
I
have
don't.
no idea. And see, that's another. How many how many NBA stars would be instantly recognizable anywhere in the country?
Well,
I
they're
mean,
all like
certainly.
7 feet
Probably a
tall. So.
dozen. Well,
Okay,
yeah,
setting that aside,
yeah.
but
A guy like Steph
certainly.
Curry.
Well,
A
I
guy like
don't
Steph
watch
Curry,
basketball.
who's
Here's a good
6'3".
example. I don't watch basketball, and when the Cleveland Cavs were playing the Raptors, I saw Kevin Love walking down the street, and I recognized him.
Yeah,
And I don't watch
Mhm.
basketball,
yeah, and
so
that's Kevin Love. That's not
yeah,
LeBron James.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and how many baseball stars can you say that about? Almost none.
hmm
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there are certainly guys like here we are sitting on a talking on a podcast for a fantasy baseball league. I'm not referring to this crowd. We
Yeah.
certainly would be able to pick people out, but your average Joe. Well, that's also not a good reference in this context either, is it?
yeah.
Joe is very average, but your average person in this in the North America, um, they're just not going to recognize that individual, and I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
And even the NFL, a sport where your stars walk around on the field with their faces covered up in a
Yeah,
helmet.
Yeah.
They do a better job
yeah.
of that, and I really think that's a problem.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can
I don't.
guarantee you that if we grab photos of the 10 most popular NBA players, the 10 most popular baseball players, and have our wives look at them, my wife, who knows nothing about sports, will be able to identify a half dozen of the NBA players by accident, and
Guaranteed.
she will recognize none of the baseball players.
Yeah. Same.
Guaranteed.
Same.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Except my wife might only get one of the maybe two of the basketball players. Curry and James probably be the only two she'd get.
yeah,
Oh, so sad. So sad. um, well, Stephen, we can't let you go without asking the question we have asked everyone this year so far on the show, and that is to give us your BDL championship prediction. Who is this year's BDL champion?
I'm gonna go off and say it is going to be Kevin. I don't know why. I just think it's
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just gonna pick
picks
that.
making-
that.
He even picked someone in my division. What a douche! Jeez. Pick Brian or something. Make me feel a little better about it.
You know when you asked me that question, I said who's second in Mike's division. That's who
That's
I
what
picked,
there you
just to
go.
piss him
Thanks.
off.
That's what I kind of figured.
Okay.
That's interesting. A team.
So you should
We're
ask
really-
Mike what it's like working with me. That's the real question.
Yeah. What's funny? What's kind of funny, Scotty? So years and years ago, this is before I even knew who Steven was. This is probably 11, 12 years ago. Our bank came up with a change in our health benefits. And and within the bank, we had this kind of a public web forum you could post onto. But most employees knew well enough to not shit talk the executives in the public forum because your name was actually on the posts. And then I just saw someone just ripping into everyone. And I'm like, who's this douche? Who I either love this guy or hate this guy. I don't know which one it is. Just ripping these guys a-holes. And I'm like, Stephen Cook, who is this guy? And I'm like, I'm not sure if this guy's the biggest idiot in the world. He's the biggest set of nuts I've ever seen on anyone.
Hey,
but
I'm still
you know
there.
what? It's been 12 years since those comments, and he's still working for the company.
And I've been
So fair.
promoted 3 times. So
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
must have done something right. No,
It would have been 6 times had you. It would have been 6 had you not made those comments, Steven.
No, I think. But hey, come on, give me credit. They actually did, like, you know, after I got some other people talking too, and they actually
Yeah.
changed some of the stuff. So
They did, but like I'm reading this and I'm like, I'm there. I agree with everything he says, and he's completely right. But man, this thing stones the post with your name.
But gotta remember, that was 12 years ago. I didn't have any kids. I wasn't married. I was single. So if they
Ah,
fired
that's
me,
a
I would
good
have
point.
shrugged and said, "Oh, whatever. I'll find another job."
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. Things have changed. If that happened now, me and Steven would be like, "Oh, good changes, boss. Good job. It's good."
Yeah. I would just keep quiet. They're letting me work from home. I'm not gonna complain right now. They can do whatever they want as long as they don't ask me to come back to the office.
And you speak for everybody in our office. You speak
Yep.
for everybody there. And Scotty's like, I haven't worked one day from home this entire time. What are you guys talking about?
Actually, have not. I have not. No.
You didn't? No.
But-
Oh,
No.
No. Our staff is pretty small. About eight people in my organization, and it's pretty close knit. And you know, we don't live in a really high population area anyway, so it's just kind of situational. It's not too risky for us to
Oh,
come to work every
And
day.
now, Stephen, when Scotty says he doesn't live in a high population area, his hometown has 9 people and 12 sheep. Like this is you know, his family is half the population in his hometown. This is not, you know.
That sounds like
Mike
that
is
kind
being
of place, though.
Mike is being slightly dramatic, but we have
18 sheep actually, Mike. We don't have 12 sheep.
We have one town in the county where we live. One town, not no city, one town, and it is a town of about 900 people. Yeah, the
That's a good
county,
place.
the county-wide population is well, honestly, I'm kind of nervous to see the new census data, but it should be around probably about 20,000 people.
Yeah, that's a county.
That's one county. Yeah, that's the county that yeah, right.
I don't generally get along with people, so that's like a place I would love to live.
Yeah, you know, that would be perfect for Steven. He should move down there.
What is the first thing I said when I bought this house? I love my house because my neighbor's deaf.
Yeah, I still remember that line.
Because I don't have to talk to them.
We're going to talk to these people.
I've gotten better, though. I've gotten better with talking to my neighbors. I live on a court with only 5 other houses. So I've gotten a little bit better.
A little bit better. He says hello when he drives by them now. This is a huge
Yeah, sometimes I give them a wave.
Give him
It's
a
not
half
even
a
just,
wave.
you know, they've done anything. It's just, I'm usually pretty busy. I just don't like making small talk with people.
Steven, I'm the same way. I was at the butcher today, and we're in there with masks on. So I walk in, and there's this lady in front of me. She turns around. Mike, how are you? And I'm like, I don't know who you are. And I'm like,
You know what gave you away, right?
the fanny pack? No, I didn't
Fanny
have it
pack in the height.
on. I didn't have it on. So she turns around. She then takes her mask off and looks at me. Mike, you don't remember me? And I'm like, help me out. And she's just looking at me with this look of amazement. our parents are best friends. And with that clue, I still couldn't put two and two together. And she's
I
like, "Oh
just
my god!" It's like,
whenever someone says my name, I just pretend I know who they are, and then later
yeah,
I have no idea who that was.
it was horrible. And I'm looking at her, and then after about 9 clues, I clued in this is a person I've literally known since I was born. And I'm like, I'm just a horrible human being. I'm not very
Just
good at
blame
this.
Just blame the pandemic. That's what I blame for everything. I blame the pandemic for everything.
I'm
Anything
not
that ever
very
goes
good at
wrong,
interactions with
COVID.
other people.
I mean, I haven't cut my hair in 17 months. I mean, COVID. That's
Jeez.
My wife gave me a samurai bun the other day. I feel like a Ken doll some days with my daughter's doing my hair. It's just, COVID. It's the
And
excuse I
Scotty's
use for
wondering about the
everything.
quality of people we're adding to our league now. It's like, who the hell have we added to
Hey, when I
this?
have to go back in the public, I'll shave my head or something.
Yeah,
but,
that might be a while still, but we shall see.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, Stephen, we appreciate you hopping on the show tonight, making time for us. So good luck. We both are really pulling for you in your division against the Bears. We hope you wax Chris here toward the end of the season and
Trade me a pitcher.
Trade
show
me a
him who's boss.
picture.
I will do that, sir. We will come together on a trade. Absolutely.
This should be
Let's
interesting.
talk
Let
about
me
that.
look at these pictures. I don't know if you wanted these guys, Steven, but
No, I was just.
You might.
I've been actually eyeballing his pitchers for a little while now, but then his
Well,
team's too good. It doesn't make sense for me to go after him. So yeah.
J Hap can be had.
J
Hap can
Hap.
be had. He can be had.
Really,
Listen.
I was more
Listen.
looking at JB.
I could sell out and rebuild right now and still win the South. So just throw something at me, bro.
That's a good point. It's Scotty. If for the next 6 weeks, if you just fielded illegal lineups every day, would you still win your division?
Probably.
I have no doubt whatsoever.
If you just got shut out every week, I wonder if they'd be able to catch.
It's locked. It is locked.
I still think it is really sad that the other Canadian is not in the North Division. I still think that's very sad.
The other Canadian, yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know why both Canadians aren't in the North. I mean,
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. Move me to the North, Scotty.
yeah.
Do it, buddy. Do it. Move me to get me the hell.
But
out
you
of
have
the
to move
East.
beers out.
Oh
Beers
yeah,
out.
please. Yeah, take the beers out and move me in. I'm all right with that.
Send
all
beers
right
to
with
the
that.
East.
I'm all right with
He's
that.
sitting there swearing at me right now.
Like it's the dumbest idea ever. Like I'm from Colorado. That's pretty damn north. Can we move somebody else?
He runs the draft pick farm. I think a bunch of my draft picks just got traded somehow.
Oops.
Just
all
joking.
right, man.
All right, Steven.
All right.
Take care, guys.
I'll talk to you on Monday.
Yeah. No more Italy talk, okay?
I will try to keep it down.
I'll just bring up World War II if you do, okay?
We won that one. Remember, we turned late. So
Yeah.
It's a victory.
It's easy to win when you join the wrong team.
It's a victory for us, though. We changed sides with about 2 weeks left.
Your titles, that's about as legitimate as LeBron's titles, okay?
Oh, you know what's kind of funny about the whole world? You know what's kind of funny about the whole World War thing? So during the final, I was talking to my brother who was at a restaurant watching this, and there were a couple English fans. And as the game was ending, with you guys losing it all, the Italian fans started a chant of 2 world wars, but only 1 World Cup. And I thought that was really, really cruel.
Yeah,
It's kind of cruel, I thought.
But you know what, though? The dumbasses bring it on themselves with their fucking "it's coming home." Even as an English person, I was just like, shut up.
Poor Steven.
I mean, growing up a Leafs fan, too, I know never, ever, ever get confident. Ever. There's nothing to be confident about.
Scotty has no idea what we're talking about right now. What's the World Cup? What's the World
totally
Cup?
tuned out.
I think the comp for baseball would be maybe being a Mariners fan. I don't know.
No. It would be. Oh, geez. Think of a highly paid team. It would have been the Cubs before they win a World Series.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, when the Cubs won theirs, I was like, yes, there's hope for the Leafs, but clearly not.
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, so much of that.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.
We'll talk about it.
Appreciate it, Steven. All right. Thanks a bunch, Steven, for joining us here on the Inside Pod, all the way from Moncton. I got it right. I've got this figured out.
You're getting better, buddy.
Thank you.
You're getting much better.
Yeah. Did he take inspiration from the WWF Mountie, or is that just more of a general? You
Uh,
think?
I'm trying to. I think he. I don't think he's a wrestling fan, but I might have.
So that was my question.
Yeah,
If we had another,
yeah. No, I
of
don't
course,
think he's
I
a
don't.
wrestling fan, but I may have thrown that at him at some point because I think he was just trying to come up with Canadian cities and then throwing something
Ah,
on there. And I think I may have mentioned, but I don't remember top of my head.
well. In any case, Stephen, great had a great conversation. Appreciate you joining the show, and we will, I'm sure, talk to you again soon before too long, guys. We are going to wrap things up here, and we promise we will. You will hear from us again before too long. So we're going to get back on more of a regular schedule that we were on there earlier this season. So we'll be throwing another one at you before you know it. But appreciate you taking the time to step into the pod here and take a listen and hope you enjoyed it. But yeah, Mike, that's it, brother. Take care, and we
Take
will
care,
see you
buddy.
next time.
See
Okay.
you, everybody.